This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Superbike Show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester and we are live. Yes, we just about made it and we are really live. And wow, what a day we've had racing around trying to get everything ready for today's big show before the Superbike weekend. And we thought we'd tease you a little by... so anyone, basically, we said we were going to come on live at 8, so it was 8:30-ish. Yes, better late than never, that's what I always say. So, on the show this evening, we have Ben Curry from Gearlink Kawasaki. He'll be on the show talking to us and telling Kiko and yourselves what it's like being a Superbike rider in 2018. So, we'll... ask him about everything that he's looking forward to coming up this weekend at Donington. If you have any questions for him, then please do get in touch. You can tweet at MSport Radio. You can get in touch on the old Facebooks as well. It's Motorsport Radio. You can even email. Yeah, we do email. It's hello@motorsport.radio. That's motorsport.radio, not .com.radio.com. I know a lot of people say, so it's motorsport.radio.com. No, it's motorsport.radio. That's it. So it's hello@motorsport.radio. Right. So we will look ahead to what is going to be the potential big upsetters in BSB this weekend. We'll look back to what happened at World Superbikes at the weekend, plus the support categories in BSB as well. Have you got anybody in mind who might steal the Stock 1000 title? Maybe in Supersport, maybe. Or maybe Stock 600. Let us know your thoughts. We are live right now all over Tinterwebs. And please welcome onto the show, as ever, once again, no Superbike show would be complete without him. Or maybe it'd be better without him. Anyway, it's Kiko. Welcome, Kiko, to the old Superbike show. Hello, good evening.
At last, we're here. And just to prove we are live, this is what happens. Just a brief summary... In 30 seconds, it is absolutely lashing down where I am. It's lashing down in Greater Manchester where Leicester is, and we've been planning this for about an hour and a bit, and we have just had problems. And I'm very sorry. We are very sorry. It's out of our hands. So hopefully that is the end of our problems this year, because we have been plagued. But we're moving on.
Shambles!
With shambolic. We've been moving on though, and it'll be good to actually get on with what we know. And World Superbikes was back in Thailand last weekend, and I've got to say, it was absolutely brilliant. We've got to recap that, a little bit of World Supersport as well, because that was a great race. We're looking ahead to British Superbikes, as Leicester's just going to preview as much as we can in the time that we've got left about the defending champions, which is Paul Bird Motorsport, the potential upsets, which are OMG, and all the teams that are there or thereabouts challenging anyway. Tag Racing, for example. You've got Leon Haslam on the Bournemouth Kawasaki, Luke Mossey on that bike too. You've got Peter Hickman. You've got Jake Dixon, Danny Buchan. You've got Bradley Ray. There are so many. In fact, we have an interview to bring to you later on in the show. Bradley Ray. We unfortunately haven't got Danny Buchan, as we said, because of these problems and timings and whatnot just can't be met up. But yeah, lots to come on the show, and another exclusive interview with Ben Curry.
Yes, all that plus Brad Ray as well, which I neglected to mention. Yes, but I was going to surprise you with it later. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So yes, you can, as previously mentioned, get in touch with the show tonight. It's at MSport Radio. We're live right now, streaming on the old Facebooks, and we'd love to see your comment flood in. We will read them out if they're nice and clean and such. But let us know what you think. Please do disagree with Kiko, because I like that. That's particularly good entertainment.
Most people like it, and most people do disagree with me anyway. But
yeah, don't be scared to chip in the conversation and disagree with old Kiko. And I believe as well now we are streaming live on Twitter. I think it's, what is it called, Periscope? Is that still a thing? Well, yes, it is, Twitter. It's at MSport Radio. You can watch us on there as well. So that's good. And we are definitely streaming on there. So, yeah, let's get on with the show. And first of all, then, you were mentioning about the old World Superbikes.
I was. And what a fantastic kind of return to World Superbikes in many ways. We always know Australia is going to be a great race. And they were. Marco Melandri with a great double, especially in race 2. But the promise into Thailand kind of faded. People weren't too sure. He'd just go back to being boring old World Superbikes again. And in race 1, it'd be fair to say that there were some good battles downfield, but you know, Jonathan Rea came through, cleared off and won by some distance. But race 2 was a lot more frantic. Eugene Laverty had a great start. Leon Camier was leading. Johnny Rea couldn't fight his way through like we thought he would. The Yamahas came strong. And even at times, Marco Melandri, who had a dire weekend, actually looked a little bit competitive. But apart from all of that, it was Chaz Davies who came through in the end to take his first win of the 2018 campaign. His first win since last year, of course, the back end of last year. And that, to me, now signifies that we've got a race on for this series. Jonathan Rea isn't going to walk off with it like he did last year and the year before that. It's going to be a battle. He leads the series by 2 points over Marco Melandri. Then it's Xavi Forés in third, so he's still in with a shout as well. And so is so is Chaz Davies, because now with that win, he got his first podium in race 1. He took 41 points away from that weekend. That is good going for Chaz Davies. And going to Aragon, he's the only rider in the history of World Superbikes to do a double at Aragon on a Ducati and a BMW. He likes that place. He enjoys going to Aragon. It is his track. We know how good he is and know how strong he can be. So Chaz Davies coming into form at the right time. Jonathan Rea faded out of form just a touch, not totally, at the wrong time, because the tracks that are coming up, you know, they're anyone's. They're not just Johnny Rea circuits.
It is interesting. I didn't actually manage to see because of the time, and plus we were at Landau as well, and we were busy doing Cool Fab racing, so I didn't actually manage to see any of the racing live. For you though, Kiko, who would you say was the rider of the race?
I mean, yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, you'd have to say Leon Camier in race 1, because he made that Honda work from the front row, and he looked like he was on for a podium until the last couple of laps when Chaz Davies caught and passed him. You know, Leon Camier is doing something with that Honda that no one was able to do with it last year. Nicky Hayden, the late Nicky Hayden, Jake Gagne, Stefan Bradl, Davide Giuliano. No one made that Honda work, but Leon Camier is making it work, and he's making it work so well that we knew he would go well on it, but we didn't think it'd be this strong. You know, challenging for podiums. He's only been on the bike for 4 races and testing. You know, as this season evolves and as the regulations, of course, start tightening in on the successful teams, you've got to think, well, the Yamahas, the Hondas, the independent Ducatis, the independent Kawasaki's, the Aprilias, they're only going to come back in a bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the championship then, and what happened from Thailand and the Buriram, can never say it. Buriram. Yeah, the old championship as it stands at the moment. Only 2 points in it. Have you mentioned that? I wasn't listening if you did.
I did. Yeah, it's close. It's the closest it's been for some time.
Well, it's only the second round, really, isn't it?
No, but it's important to stress. I mean, last year we saw Johnny Rea, he won 4 out of 4 in the first 4 races, and the year before that he won 3 out of 4. The year before that, 3 out of 4. This year, 1 out of 4. Everyone else has got a chance.
You wrote an article on the motorsport.radio website, perhaps suggesting that Kawasaki might be in trouble.
Yeah, well, in race 1, Tom Sykes had brake issues, and in race 2, Jonathan Rea had brake issues. Johnny Rea came out and said it is what it is, but, I mean, these have got to be fixed. You know, you can't carry on a whole season with brake issues. I mean, I don't think they will, but coming into Aragon, which I've already said is Chaz Davies territory. I mean, Johnny Ray goes very well at Assen, but Marco Melandri's a lot more competitive this year and knows Assen very, very well from his Grand Prix days. You can't discount Leon Camier at this point either. Leon Camier's riding as well as I've ever seen him ride. You've got Loris Baz, who will only ever become stronger and stronger as the season goes on. Xavi Forés is already an upset, I'd say. The Yamahas come good. And just to add some context to the Yamahas, if you follow me on social media at MotoGP Kiko, you would have seen a statistic earlier today. It was the first time that two Yamahas had got on a podium in a track that's outside of Europe since 1996 at Sugo, and that was when Noriyuki Haga and Wataru Yoshikawa took second and third place.
I remember it well.
Of course, everyone remembers it well. But the Yamahas. The point is, the Yamahas are getting better. We knew they would. They had a bit of a soft start in Australia. It wasn't anything particularly special, but they've come back in Thailand and gone well. We know they go well at Aragon. I'm starting to get a little bit excited for World Superbikes, and I know we're only 2 rounds in, but by the time I was 3 races in last year, I wanted to turn it off.
It's definitely different this year. It's a lot of people kind of wrote it off, World Superbikes, at the end of last year, presuming that, there was perhaps no reason for them to think it would be any different this year. But it is. Round 1 in Australia proved that. Although, yes, it was slightly kind of... there were extenuating circumstances with the pit stops, amazingly, and with Ray being a bit ill and yada yada. So round 2, people were... I mean, I even predicted on this show last week that maybe Ray might win a race at the weekend, and he did. So, well done.
He did, but he didn't do the double, did he, like you said?
Well, I said he'd win at least one. Because I wasn't sure, and I knew I wasn't going to be watching it, so I wasn't really that sort of invested in it emotionally.
I must say, Lester says that he knew he wasn't going to be watching it. I must clarify, I was working as well when the World Superbike races were on. I was actually doing some statistics and commitments with Coolfab Racing whilst we was actually trackside, so I do work as well. But no, World Superbike's back with a bang in 2018.
Exactly. So yes, next round is when?
It's 3 weeks, Aragon. Some news ahead of this, and we're going to be posing the question throughout today's show. Eugene Navety, who will his replacement be? Because the Irishman had a horrible accident in Thailand. He was run over by Jordi Torres, and he's got some bad injuries, thankfully not life-threatening, and he will be back at Donington Park, which is his home round, effectively. So who do you think should or could replace Eugene Navety for the 3 rounds?
Who's good enough to replace him?
Yeah, who is good enough, and who's good enough that's actually free to ride? That's the main thing, because at Aragon, that clashes with British Superbike, so count anyone out from BSB. Don't forget, Sylvain Gintoli's already under contract by Suzuki. Stefan Bradl's already under contract at Honda. So you haven't got a massive pool. Maybe ship over one of the MotoGP affiliate boys. It's open to you to discuss with us. Join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts.
Well, we've had a couple of comments come in. One from Tony Shorthouse. Hello there, Tony. Thanks for tuning in live.
Evening, Tony.
It says, referring to BSB, not World Superbikes, but MCE was with BSB for some time. Why the change, he says. Bennett's was quick to jump in. I suppose he's got something particular on his mind that we never spoke about there. But he also asks as well, has Milwaukee found another rider yet?
Well, this is what we're talking about. Don't think so, not as yet. Sean Muir said that either before the weekend or in the weekend itself, there will be a rider announcement of some description. We do not know who. Don't forget, last year, Lorenzo Savadori crashed heavily in Thailand and was out of action for a little while, and he was replaced by Julian Simon, the ex-125cc champion, actually, in 2009. So there are options available for Sean Muir. They're limited options, but there are options. Like I say, let us know who you want to get on that Milwaukee bike. It is effectively a factory Aprilia. And don't forget, they've also got a Stock 1000 team as well. So the Chilean rider Max Scheib could be a potential candidate for the ride there too.
Yeah, if you suspect anybody might fit the bill, who you think would go well, let us know. It's at M Sport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on the old Facebooks, and we will endeavour to read out your comment live on the show, because we are live right here on Motorsport Radio. This is the Superbike Show. My name is Lester. Kiko Giles is here with us, chilling in his chair. Sit up straight, Kiko. There we go.
I am.
For the people who are only listening, he's slumped in his chair, which is not good. And Steve Parker has been on. He says, what's going on with the Marco Melandri bike? Brackets wobble.
People are only just picking up on this, and it amazes me because this happened all through last year as well. That bike just likes to wobble around. It's you can't even say it's when you're slipstreaming or in dirty air.
It was quite prominent, I think, in Phillip Island, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was again prominent last year. So, I mean, Marco is a very light rider. He's very short, so maybe there's just not enough weight to get sat down. But
is it his riding style? Maybe is he just too punchy into some of the corners?
It could be, because don't forget Davies is a very corner speed guy. He uses them long levers of his to hustle the bike around. Marco Melandri isn't like that. I really don't know. If I did though, I'd be messaging Ducati for a job, but we'll skirt around that bit. Marco Melandri, that wobble has been happening for a little while now, and I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's really costing him too much, because, we saw it in Phillip Island. He was getting the wobble on, but he still managed to out-drag the Kawasaki or Jonathan Ray by the line. So the Ducati's obviously got plenty of pace. So maybe it's literally just there is not enough weight on the back end to actually make it stick down.
Well, that's Kiko's theory, but
no science to that.
Well, do you have any information about the old Melandri wobble, as we'll call it?
Yes.
Let us know. Could there be some sort of technical thing going on that we don't know about? It's probably the case. But if there is, perhaps, let us know. Get in touch. Just like Wayne Room has been in touch. Hi, Wayne. And Greg as well. Hello, both. Wayne asks, Kiko, do you think Walker will fill in for Ellison Winfield if they are ill as a super sub? He says he'd love to see a guest ride by him. Has he registered as a rider just in case?
Well, I'd love to see Old McGold come back. I was talking to someone who will remain nameless in the last couple of weeks, and they say you've got to give Walker a run out, surely. I'd like to see it. I think Walker would like it, make a bit of a return to BSB, first time since 2015 that he'd be on a Superbike, I think, because he was with Tommy Hill Motorsport then. Chris, I'd love to see him back. It's all about whether or not he can, because don't forget, of course, he had that massive accident in the sidecars last year. He has been doing a bit of testing and racing for the tag team, but his role is mentor, his rider mentor. So I'd love to see him back, but unfortunately, we're going to have Rob Winfield on tonight. I was going to pose a question to him, and like we said,
good, wouldn't it?
Like I said, the problems that we've had have just led to that not happening now. So we'll come up with an answer for you, I assure you.
Interesting. Yes, or maybe in the absence of said Winfield, maybe you can just make up your own mind and tell us whether he should be racing or not at some point this season. Do let us know. Still to come here on the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio, we have an interview with our good friend. It's Brad Ray. And also, Ben Curry is on the show a bit later. We'll be giving him a call on the old Dog and Bone and getting him on and telling us what life's like in the old BSB there and how his prep has been going on. In what, sorry?
Very shortly, in fact. Only a few minutes to go until young Ben comes on in his freezing caravan, as he was telling me earlier on the phone. He's shivering away.
Well, let's warm him up with some good questions, eh? Maybe not.
No.
Okay, anyway. So my name is Lester, if you just tuned in, and Kiko Giles is here. He's sat up straight and paying a lot of attention. Yes, anyway. And we are... shall we move on? Have we covered World Superbikes in enough detail now?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think we have. We'll come back onto it a little bit more later, though.
Yes, so...
Keep us updated with who you think should replace Eugene Laverty.
Exactly. So just to let you know, because I wanted to mention it anyway, I started to read out the championship standings, but got distracted, Kiko. Johnny Ray leading by just 2 points at the moment. Melandri in second, and Xavi Flores in third place. With 60 points, so the top three covered just by 9 points right now. Chaz Davis in fourth, Alex Lowe's in fifth, and Van der Mark in sixth place is your World Superbike top six as it stands going into the third round at Aragon in just a few weeks' time. So, World Superbikes will put a little hat on that and push it out of the way, so to speak, and move on to British Superbikes, because that there... Old British Superbikes is probably bigger than the World Superbikes, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Donington Park last year for the British Superbikes had actually more fans there than the World Series, boys. So that side of World Superbikes is still coming along a little bit better than it was, but it's still got a bit of time to go. But yes, on to British Superbikes and, more accurately, British Super Sport.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so Super Sport, tell us what's the latest news in Super Sport right now? What's going on? What do we need to know?
Latest news is everyone's preparing. We're going to talk to Ben Curry in just a few moments' time. James Westmoreland is back in the Geerling Kawasaki team for a second year in the Super Sport class this year. Everquip Yamaha are probably the most exciting team for me to look out for this year, with the return of James Rispoli to the class. We know how quick James Rispoli can be on an R6 Yamaha. Still seeking that elusive first British Supersport win, but I have a feeling it's coming this year. Bjorn Espen's been looking good in testing as well. The South African, for once, having some continuity with a team, and that's great for him, and it's good for the image of the sport as well to have the same regular faces there. You've also got Jack Kennedy. Now, Jack Kennedy's got to be one of the favourites for the series this year. He came close last year, and he's on the Appleyard McAdams Yamaha. They're running a new Yamaha, which is not what they run last year. They run the old make R6. What they're doing this year is running a new make R6. Apart from that, you've also got Joe Francis on the Qingdao Racing MV Augusta. He moves over from the Housel Racing Yamaha team, which have left the Supersport class and gone up to Superbikes on a Suzuki, but more on that later on. So Francis takes the place of Jack Kennedy at Qingdao Racing and is joined by Harry Truelove. There's a lot of movement, as you can imagine. Ross Twyman and David Allingham are still there for the EHH team. So lots to try and get through this year. I think this could be another vintage year of British Supersport racing. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an open mind, to be honest. I don't know either way. I don't have any expectations, if that makes sense. I'm just going to watch it and see what happens. You know, I'm not hyping it up as much as maybe you are, though, Kiko. But that's not to say I'm not expecting it to be like rubbish or anything. I just literally want to enjoy a full season with a completely open mind. I'll just. I am literally just. I'm more of a neutral than you are, perhaps. Kiko is what I would say. So, yeah. So,
well, we shall follow it closely, and any news, motorsport.radio, first place to find out.
Exactly. Right. Shall we get Ben Curry on the old line?
I think we should.
Cool.
On the old line.
Let's try and give him a call. Ben has been somewhat of a regular to Motorsport Radio, and we caught up with him as well most recently at the Motorcycle Live Show at the NEC in Birmingham. When was that? November. Seems like a long time ago, but it really wasn't.
Back end of November.
Kiko says he is enjoying a luxury of a cold, damp caravan at the moment. Hello, good evening, Ben. Can you hear us? Ben.
Hello.
Ben Curry. Can't hear us, can he? Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Ben, can you hear us okay? Ben? Oh, Ben can't hear us. Oh. Ben Curry, hello, good evening.
Hello.
Ha! Amazing. So, hello, Ben. You're live on Motorsport Radio right now, and you're with Kiko. And thank you for bearing with us throughout the slightly delayed start to the show. But it's great to have you back on. And
It's a pleasure.
How's life been since we last caught up with you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've just been training really hard and getting ready for first round. Really, it's been pretty simple. Waking up, going to the gym, training. Seeing my sponsors, doing some promotional stuff from my sponsors. I was actually at a sponsors open day today down in Wellingborough, Diamond Recruitments. So I was there doing that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, pretty basic, just training, getting ready.
Right, well, I hope you've warmed up, Ben, because I know you were shivering and chatting your teeth away when I last spoke to you just about an hour ago. So I hope the electricity's back on at Donington Park. But coming into 2018, you're back with the Gearlink team. That's got to be crucial for you, because continuity for any rider is a good thing, no?
Yeah, I always try to. I always try to do 2 years with a team because, like you say, it's good to back it up, and you build a foundation for the first year, and then you try and capitalise on a foundation the following year. And I think that plays a big part in trying to win a championship. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. So, I'm as ready as I can be.
What have you done off-season to keep fit? Because we know that, the racing season's all very well and good. You're training all the time, but, you've got so much time off the bike. So how do you make sure that you are bike fit, so to speak? What do you do? Because some people say it's trials, some say it's motocross, but every rider's different. So what's your technique?
I would have liked to have rode a motorbike as such a little bit more this off-season, but that hasn't worked out. I haven't rode really any motocross. I normally ride a lot of motocross back home. Haven't done that. I've actually literally been working on my fitness really, really strictly in the gym, and that's just, running, cycling, lots of different strength stuff. I've got a new trainer for this year. Well, when I say new trainer, I've finally got a trainer. I've never really ever had a trainer as such, giving me plans. So I've had a 4-month training plan mapped out for me, specifically for racing motorbikes, and probably the best thing I've ever done. I'm fitter than I've ever been. I'm healthier than I've ever been. Everything's spot on. So I guess bike fitness is yet to come, and we're probably, you can train all you want in the gym, but come round one, when you tense up on the bike and you got nerves and stuff like that, I bet you it's a whole new ball game. So it might take a couple of rounds just to get back into the bike fitness. But yeah, I mean, I'm as fit as I've ever been. So saying that, I'm probably starting the season so much further ahead than I ever have.
When you say you've been dieting and you've been training in the gym, what does that all consist of? Like, is it a diet as in lots of protein, or is it more fruit and veg based? What is your diet like?
Well, diet is pretty complicated, and it's like, so I can't actually tell you, to be honest. I work with Brad Howe now. Might have heard the name before. A lot of people would have heard the name before. He works with some of the top guys in the British Championship, and the stuff that he does is so far past my knowledge that I sort of goes in one ear and out the other. He maps out my diet from week to week for my weight, for everything that I'm trying to achieve. It's always changing. Race day diets are changing. With the time schedules and stuff like that released by BSB. It's so in depth that every meal I make, everything from breakfast, lunch, and dinner is weighed to, every last ingredient's weighed to a certain gram, so it's perfect for my body. Everything that I eat is what I need, nothing more, nothing less. So, that to me, is the next step to taking my career from, being a good motorcycle rider to being the best motorcycle rider. And that's what I need to do, and that's what really my diet consists of. It's so specific. I couldn't really tell you what's doing what, but all I know is I've never felt better, and I know it's exactly what I need because I have full faith in the people that I'm working with.
Now you've said that links on very well to the next question. You say you've never felt better, it's exactly what you need. Would you now consider yourself a favourite or one of a select few favourites for British Supersport Championship success in 2018?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've definitely got a good chance, that's for sure. And if I said anything different, I would be lying and I wouldn't probably be confident. But, I'm confident I can win the championship 100%. Am I a favourite? I'm not really sure. It sort of doesn't change my situation, whether I'm a favourite or I'm second favourite or I'm third favourite. I see comments and stuff on the Dickies Facebook page and stuff like that, and people tipping me for the win, people tipping Kennedy for the win, people tipping Allingham for the win. So for me, it doesn't make a sense. It doesn't make a change in what I'm doing. I'm preparing to win the championship, regardless if I'm favourite or not. But, I've definitely got a good chance.
What do you have to do to win a championship? Is it all about race wins and being the fastest all of the time, or is it about saying, right, okay, this weekend's not going too great, so let's aim for this position or a fourth or a third, and the consistency? Is that what it's about at Supersport level?
Yeah. I mean, at any, a championship over 12 rounds, which is 24 races, any championship that goes to 24 races is definitely one of the key factors to winning that championship is consistency, because you can't afford to, have multiple bad races. You've got to be, over 24 races. If you're the most consistent rider, you're probably going to win the championship. But there's a load of different key facts. I mean, if I knew them all, I'd be champion already by now, but I haven't won a championship. So, I'm still learning all those different things, but I've definitely a wealth of experience, under my wing from previous years of trying, and I feel like I've almost got all the ingredients to win a championship. Now I've just got to go and do the business. I've just got to knuckle down, and like you say, if you can't take a win, take a second. If you can't take a second, take a third, but never give up on a point. Always fight for the last point that you can get. It's not always going to go your way. You're not always going to win every race. So you're not going to get on the podium every race. This is one of the highest levels you can race at. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Every point is crucial, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So you got to really stay consistent and healthy as well. Is quite important to stay healthy. I've ridden years where I've been injured, and it's not fun. It's not, you can't win a championship when you're riding hurt all the time.
You've got, in a way, a new teammate this year. I mean, James Westman was obviously in the Gearlink setup last year, but he is in your class this year. Is he a credible threat to you for the championship?
Yeah, definitely. Westy's a class rider. I think, when I first come over here all them years ago, I was watching Westy, tear up on the Superbike, and I think he finished in the showdown. I know he rode for some of the best teams. And I looked at that guy as like, wow, okay, he's one of the top guys. With my little knowledge to the sport, I quickly, when I say the sport, it's a BSB paddock, I quickly categorised him as one of the best guys around. So is he going to be a threat? 100% he's going to be a threat. I think he's a very valuable teammate. Me and Andy Irwin had a great team camaraderie, or whatever you want to call it, last year, where we were just so competitive. It was literally every practice session was, every qualifying session, every warm-up, race day warm-up, we were racing each other, and we did not want to be second to each other, and that really helped us in a sense. This year's going to be a completely different approach to, well, not approach, but it's going to be a different sort of team bond, camaraderie. I don't really know how to explain it, but basically it's going to be a little bit different this year. Westy's got a wealth of experience, and I'm actually going to be able to learn a lot off him this year and use a lot of his strengths to my advantage to also improve this year in a different area. Last year it was about improving racecraft, being aggressive, always trying to be the best. Irwin had that complete aggression. Westy this year, it's a different approach to last year, and he's a very calculated person. So I think it's either way, it's a perfect scenario. Both those people are perfect teammates in my eyes. So I'm really looking forward again to this year. I've got another great teammate, great team behind me. So I couldn't be more happier.
Who do you think will be the harder teammate to beat? Andy Irwin, or will it be James Westmoreland?
I think different days. Both of them on their game are going to be very tough competitors. Both of them at their absolute peak would be very tough to beat, and anyone that can beat them are really good riders. But I think if it came down to the last lap, both in dogfight, I think Andy Irwin would have no problems just barging his way past you and saying, "I win, thanks very much." You know what I mean? No matter what. So if I had to choose one, not because of rider capability or anything, I just think in a complete dogfight, probably Irwin. But I mean, they're both fantastic riders, and both on the day, if you beat them, is a very good achievement.
They are both incredible riders. We've seen both challenge for championships in the last couple of years. Final question then. Obviously, we've said already you're staying with the team. There's a bit more continuity. So what is a good result for you then coming into Donington? If you was to leave Donington, what would you say you'd have to have done to leave happy?
It literally depends on the situation, because it starts at free practice one. If you ask me after free practice one what I'd be happy with, I could tell you. It could change after free practice two. It could change after qualifying. There's loads of different variables, but right now, sitting in my caravan, I would love to walk away with 2 podiums. I think that's the goal, is to try and walk away with 2 podiums, which would be a great achievement. Anywhere on the podium, try and get the first round underway, solid points. It doesn't mean go here, try and win every race and crash my brains out and just try and be first at all costs. Like I say, it's a long season. If I can get 2 podiums, that would be more than what I want this week. This exactly what I want really this weekend. If I can get a win, fantastic. If I get 2 seconds, if I get a second and a first, whatever that is, just on the podium would be fantastic.
Sounds very promising. We'll be keeping an eye on it. Before you go though, Ben, we've got a new thing going here at Motorsport Radio on the Superbike Show, and that is all guests must take part in our brand new League of Knowledge. Now, just to explain what that is, it's 5 questions. The points add up to 14, so you can get a maximum of 14 points. You're the second contestant we've actually had on the show. The only other contestant we've had on is Greg Haynes. So there's 5 questions. Like I say, the total amount of points is 14. And on the 5th question, there will be a 30-second timer. So you'll see more when we get to that. But here we are then. First question for you. This is worth 1 point. Who was the Australian Superbike champion in 2005?
In what championship? In BSB?
No, in the Aussie Superbikes, in the Australian National Superbikes.
Wow, 2005. I didn't even know what a road bike was back then. I was racing motocross. If I had to take a stab, at this Superbike champion. I don't know, Troy Davis.
Okay, Josh Brooks was the right answer to that one.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So
okay.
we'll skirt around that one. Question 2 then. Sticking with the Australian theme, of course, which of these Australian circuits was opened first? Phillip Island or Eastern Creek?
We'll go with Eastern Creek.
Phillip Island.
Wow.
It's okay. 2 down. There's the last question is where you can make up points.
Hang on, this is just showing how much I know about the sport, right? This is just embarrassing, but anyway, we'll crack on.
We will. Question 3. Your first win in the UK was at Snetterton in the Stock 600 class in 2015. Yep. That's the information I've got. But who joined you on the podium? And for the 2 correct riders, if you get 2 correct riders, you get 2 points. If you get 1 correct rider, you get 1 point.
Okay.
Okay.
I know it was definitely on the podium. Second place was Taryn McKenzie because we had a last lap battle. Okay. In third place, damn it, I think it was Joe Francis. Are
you sticking with them?
Yeah, lock it in.
Okay. Taryn McKenzie and Joe Francis, you are correct. So 2 points there.
I'm on the scoreboard.
You are. Okay, right. Question 4 starts getting a bit harder now. This is again for 2 points.
Harder?
Yeah, well, harder a little bit. But I don't think, I'd think this, but I don't think it's too far. We'll find out, though. Name the 2 Australian riders who have won a BSB race at Cadwell Park. Now, by BSB, I mean the Superbike class. So the 2 Australian British Superbike riders who have won at least 1 race at Cadwell Park.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd be silly not to go with Josh Brooks, but I feel like it's a... Has he won? I'm trying to think my time in my BSB. Has he won one? He didn't... I'd be silly not to go with Josh Brooks, but yeah, I'll go 1 Josh Brooks, and then I'm thinking, did Jason O'Halloran win one? I'm making a mockery of Australian motorsport here. Well, I'll go 1 with Josh Brooks, and then to not waste your time anymore, I'll go with O'Halloran.
Okay. Josh Brooks, correct. He's won, I think he did the double in 2015, but I think he's won before that as well. But the other one, and I didn't know this until I actually looked it up, I would have said someone like O'Halloran, is actually Troy Bayliss back in 1999. So Troy Bayliss is the only other Australian to win a race. So we're on 3 points now. Now then, I know Lester's listening in, so I need the timer now. 30 seconds you'll have. So... This question is the last question. Since 2000, name the 6 Australian riders who have won a race at World Superbike level. So 30 seconds. When we have the clock up on screen, I will allow you to start. If we can
Since 2000.
Since 2000. Where's the clock?
Well, I've had 30 seconds already to think about it, and I've got no idea.
Right, okay. Well, we'll go now. Starting now.
Okay. Troy Corsa, Troy Bayliss, think. I don't even know anyone else that was in World Superbike.
10 seconds.
I've got someone's face in my head, but I can't think of it.
5.
But I've got 2 people, so give me half a point.
1 gone. Right, 30 seconds is up. So we've got 2 out of the 6. You was correct, Corsa and Bayliss. We'll start in chronological order with them. So in 2000, I think it's the biggest race win we've ever had at Phillip Island in the history of World Superbikes. Anthony Gobert was one.
Right.
He won on a promoter by about a lap and a half over everyone else. You've said Corsa, you've said Bayliss. In 2004, Gary McCoy won a race at Phillip Island.
Oh, okay. I thought. Yeah, okay.
You've got Chris Vermeulen as another.
Oh, yeah.
And the last one, which I wouldn't have got this one, Andrew Pitt.
Oh yeah, I should have known at least 4 of them. But you know when you watch these TV shows and they're standing there and they've got the timer on them and they freeze up and you're like, you know the answer and you're yelling at the stupid person on the TV, yelling the answer. Well, I know how hard it is now. You just freeze up and you got no idea what you're doing. Anyway, I'm really bad at that. So
It's okay. Greg Haynes only got 7. You've got 5. So we're not too far away. We're in the ballpark.
Well, Greg Haynes, he's a commentator, so he should be full of knowledge. So I'm actually really happy with that.
Exactly. I mean, we try and cheer people up, whoever comes on the show. So you are at the moment 2nd. You're in a silver medal position. The bad news to that is
I'm on the podium.
Exactly, but there's only been 2 at the moment. But as we evolve over the year, Motorsport Radio and so on, all the people that we chat to are going to get put through that rigorous test of knowledge. And come the end of the year, when we catch up again at the NEC, and however many thousands of times I talked to you before that, we'll do a final show and we'll have a run through and find out where you finished up. So, Ben, as ever, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks very much for that. So
it's okay.
Yeah,
no problem. Thanks for coming on. I will catch you at Donington Park. I will see you there Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
I'll see you there. Have a good one. Thanks for that.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now. This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, fantastic to hear from Ben Curry once again, and thank you very much for getting in touch with us during that lovely, fantastic interview with Ben. And Ben is on a very tight schedule. He's he's in his caravan preparing for the season ahead. Should have asked him where his caravan actually is at the moment.
He's in the Holden area.
He's where at Donington.
Holding area at Donington Park.
Oh, he's in the holding area at Donington. Okay, that answers my question, I suppose. Always nice to know where people are parked and how people are. Do you know what I mean? Because it's only Thursday evening, and these things need to fully be addressed. I would say. So this is the Superbike Show. My name is Lester. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we've got still Kiko Giles here with us on the old dog and bone. Good evening, Kiko.
Good evening, Lester. Can you actually hear me?
Yeah. I just wasn't paying attention to you.
Oh, right. I thought that was the case. But Lester's going on about it's nice to know where people are parked. No, it's not. And this is good consumer advice to anyone who even wants to talk to me. If you are parking in a car park which has got 50 spaces, there are 3 cars there, and you still park next to a car, shoot yourself.
Kiko has parking anxiety, everybody.
Correct. Ridiculous.
I accidentally parked next to another car in a car park, imagine, and he started scratching at the windows and screaming like an anxious dog. So well done for outing yourself on that, Kiko.
Not a problem. But like I say, if you're going to park next to anyone when there's a huge shed load of cars...
Of course there's going to be cars in the car park.
Yes, but if there's about 10 empty spaces, it's like another one. If you sit on a bus or a train and you're on your own and there's 3 empty rows ahead of you and someone comes and sits next to you, why are you doing this?
That's different because...
Move away.
That's different because there are limited spaces on a bus. And anyway...
But there's not limited spaces when there's 6 empty seats, when they can go and sit on their own and sprawl out over another chair.
Well, you don't understand the white van man code, and that is that all white vans stick together in a car park. Check it out.
But you're parking next to...
Next time you go into
a Renault Clio.
Tesco's, check it out. Anywhere that there's... And they're usually parked in the disabled bay, just because it's white van people and you're allowed to...
Or on a drop curb.
Yeah.
Or across 4 cars.
You can literally park... And I tested this out once. Not that this has anything to do with the show, but I tested this out just as a pure experiment. Myself and Dan Marr, I think, in the van at the time. I just parked randomly across 3 bays. And
actually, it was me.
Was it? Me. Okay, right. Okay.
It was at the NEC in Birmingham. Thank you.
And I just parked across a couple of spaces, and we went into a shop, and we came out, and there was other white vans. There was like 3 or 4 other white vans parked right next to me. So almost like my one. Yeah, it's
mating code. It's like, I am an idiot, come to me. And they all do. It's
there are
amazing.
many white van people watching and listening to this show right now, so you know what I'm talking about. I know
You'll feel at home then. You won't be out of depth.
Exactly. Yes,
moving back onto things relatable
back onto
to
bikes,
motorsport.
by the way. Ben Curry, again, totally nice guy. And this new competition thing, is there any the League of Knowledge? What's that about?
League of Knowledge, right then. So if you're coming on the Superbike show as
is
a rider...
Is it really a League of Knowledge because all the questions are tailored to the guests?
It is a League of Knowledge, yeah, because obviously if people come on...
Because I think you asked Greg Haynes a load of commentary questions, and then you asked Ben Curry a load of Australian questions.
Yes.
It's hardly neutral, though, is it? Do you know what I mean?
It is neutral. Because they're all the questions are
It's like asking me a load of Formula 1 questions. Of course I'm going to know them.
All of them?
A lot of them.
Okay, 2012, who was the first driver to get 2 wins in that year?
Vettel.
Wrong. Fernando Alonso. So you don't know them all, and you've just been mugged off by someone who likes proper motorsport. Back on, let me just look
anyway,
at the
talk about bikes, come on.
Because, National Stock 1000 preview we're at now, so this is the series to follow this year. If you're not interested in British Superbikes, first of all, question yourself why. Then go
question why you're watching this or listening to this show.
Then flush your head down a toilet and wash your hair, and then go on and watch everything else, because if you like BSB, you will love the Stock 1000 class. It is without doubt one of, if not the most competitive championship in the world right now, because there is literally 15 potential race winners. I cannot stress enough how excited I am. And I had a very short conversation with Morello Racing team owner Steve Buckingham the other day, and he's keeping his cards close to his chest, not revealing too much, is young Steve. So the Volvo testing man, as we've referred to him, when he starts saying, well, it's nothing's clear cut just yet, we are reigning champions, and I think we'll be there or thereabouts, you start thinking, right, so there's a lot of teams who are in this. Don't forget, of course, Chrissy Rouse has looked exceptionally quick in testing on the IMR BMW. You've got Fraser Rogers, who's at the Mission Racing BMW. You've got Billy McConnell, who steps back down into the class. Keith Farmer steps up to the class on the Tyco BMW. There's so much going on. There's so much fun to be had by watching this class.
Pre-season, anyone can say anything, and testing doesn't exactly tell the full story. Plus, some of those riders, are they really going to be in those teams mid-season, towards the end of the season?
That's true. I mean, all things before you start racing can be very lovely and very hunky-dory, but, as teams evolve and things don't go their way, real colours can come out. I can see it happening for a few people this year. There's
always a couple of arguments and a couple of riders falling out with teams. That happens in any motorsport. It seems like this particular year, without naming any names, has the potential for more of that type of thing to happen.
Yes, but not so much in the Superbike class, because...
No, I mean in Stock
1000, yeah. And also maybe in Super Sport as well, because we've seen last year a couple of people came and went and there was some friction with teams and whatnot. But, Stock 1000, there's a lot of lively personalities, to say the least. And, no, I don't think we'll see a mass exodus of National Stock 1000 riders going on strike because they're unhappy. I do think that there will be a couple of teams that, potentially, there just could be that dynamic of a bit of tension and a bit of pressure and the rider not liking it. It's particularly in teams that haven't got the massive experience in racing, as in, they've come into the series and kind of not got on with it straight away, kind of a few races here and there. You just feel that not everything can work together straight away. Having said that, last year we have seen that in British Superbike class there was very few teams, if any. There was hardly any riders falling out with teams. Most riders stayed together. And if you look at the new teams that have come in so far this year, OMG, for example, that team looks probably the happiest team in the paddock. They've won. Why wouldn't you be? You've got Gino Rea, ex-Grand Prix start, Ben Luxton, massive talent coming through with the British ranks. So great to see a new team joining in the frame and getting on with it very well and successfully thus far. But yeah, like you say, We saw a bit of friction in some teams last year, went unreported. But no, it could always happen again.
Yeah, certainly. And talking about the OMG team as well, with Ben Luxton, with it being... Do we think, perhaps, and this question's open to everyone who's tuned in live, do we think, which is the most competitive, BSB or Stock 1000? Which is going to be... I mean, you can have the greatest talents in either, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to rise to the top. They will probably get there or thereabouts eventually if they do a full season and stay fit and stuff and stay on the bike. But which, right now, coming into the first round at Donington, which is the most competitive, therefore the hardest to win?
You've got to say BSB. I mean, Stock 1000 is great because there's the potential for that vast variety of winners, but British Superbikes, it's that top 6. And, I mean, my question, and it's put out to all of you, so don't forget, there's loads of things you can get tuned in on. What's more competitive, BSB or Stock 1000? Who's going to replace Eugene Navity? Another one to throw out. Pick a top 6. Pick a top 6 out of the British Superbike group. You'd think Shane Byrne, Leon Haslam, Josh Brooks, James Ellison are all going to be there. But then you've got a bag full of talent to come through. Glenn Irwin's look good. Gino Ria is causing a huge upset at the moment, although it's not an upset anymore because now we kind of expect him to be there or thereabouts. Luke Mossey will want to be in the showdown again. Jake Dixon want to retain that place, but I think the biggest dark horse out of a lot of them's Brad Ray. You've got to think he's on the same bike again this year. He developed at such a quick rate last year.
Albeit with factory backing this year as well. So.
Factory backing this year. First, second, we always say the first second is the easiest to find. It's that second that you've got to find, and that's always a bit harder. So I do think, and I know, I mean, I talked to Brad Ray quite a lot. Brad is well and truly pumped up for this year. I wouldn't want to pick a top
well, you
six.
You just asked us what about the top 6, and then you.
I will if you just keep your nose out of things.
Let me press record on this so I can play it back when you're completely wrong.
Don't put your nose in a beehive and expect a nostril full of honey, Lester Forbes.
All right, don't try and make analogies when you can't.
Top 6. Top 6. In no particular order. And just to get that out there, Shane Byrne.
Well, obviously.
Leon Haslam, Josh Brooks, James Ellison, Bradley Ray, and it's just that last one, isn't it? I mean, Gino. Oh dear.
You want to say Gino, don't you?
I do. I'll say Gino. I will say Gino. Gino Ria.
I wonder what's one. But no. A lot of people.
See, the problem is there. What we're doing is we're ruling out Luke Mossey, Jake Dixon, Peter Hickman. Two of them were in it last year. Glenn Irwin, stunning up until he got injured. Race winner. Taylor McKenzie, Tommy Bridewell back at home now. Danny Buchan, who's back in a Superbike class and looking good. There's so many. Taryn McKenzie come straight out of Grand Prix, and that toughens you up to come back into BSB and do the business.
This might be a bit controversial, and you'll probably all disagree with me, but I do think, providing that... All right. Providing that there are no injuries and providing that he can stay on the bike and everything's good, I do think that actually Glenn Irwin has a chance of finishing ahead of Shane Byrne on outright season-long pace this year.
Okay. Like we've said, though, it's very interesting because Shane Byrne... why not? Shane Byrne at Summerburn struggled last year. Alton Park was one of them.
Said he stopped enjoying riding.
Cadwell Park was another. Said he stopped enjoying riding. Glenn Irwin, on the other hand, started the year as he meant to go on at the time. Had a heroic Northwest 200. It is without doubt my favourite road race in last lap ever. And just things went wrong at Knock Hill. And, I think I don't disagree, but it's just, who would you pick? I mean, every rider's obviously going to want to say them, and most riders I've spoke to have said them. But I actually think there's such a huge pool of talent.
Yeah. I think
Richard
genuinely,
Cooper.
Yeah, we can
Kyle Ride.
Exactly. We could go through like
forever.
15 of them, but.
And we haven't even touched Honda, Linford and O'Halloran, Tyco BMW. What we're getting at here is that it is so wide. To make a prediction at this stage of the year, at least, is ridiculous. It's just luck.
So Kiko's question on make a prediction.
Don't bother.
Don't bother. It's just ridiculous. He's answered his own question. There you go. Right. So over to the old. I've been trying to keep my eye on the Facebook comments. Thank you very much to everyone who has sent in their comments live. As apologies that Kiko didn't actually read out some of the questions to Ben Curry.
Sorry.
But thank you for sending them in anyway.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, he was super involved with Ben, and hello Ben. I know he's still tuned in right now. But Greg has been back on in touch, and he asks, "Do you think a showdown format would work in Stock 1000?" That's a good question.
Oh no, I don't, because I take this. I know, and I can't apply it because
would it be making too much of an equivalence with BSB though? Would some of the shine, because do you know?
If you look at Stock 1000 in general, I'd say you don't need that, because last year it went down to the last race with Richard Cooper and Danny Buchan. So and Taylor Mackenzie. I know he wrapped up the championship a bit early on, but the racing was still good, and it works without. The Super Sport works without that kind of format. So I don't think Stock 1000 should go that way. Maybe like an Elite 3 to really make it worth like added pressure. It's hard, but I like to think that them little tweaks to systems stay to the very best of like the actual lead championship. So in MotoGP, for example, you'd expect that the MotoGP qualifying system to stay in MotoGP, because it just kind of makes it less special if you start dishing it out. I don't know what Stock 1000 could do, because I don't think it needs to do anything apart from stay as it is.
Well, the question wasn't does it need to do anything. He asked, would it work? Would it work? Just like it has worked in BSB so far. And we all know the controversy about when it was brought in. We know why it was brought in. And so far it's worked very, very, very well for now. That's not to say that this year might be the exception and it'll fall flat on its face. Who knows? Hopefully not, because it's brought us some amazing finishes so far. But
it's interesting you say that, though, because in 2015 it didn't really work because Josh Brooks has cleared off for the title.
I mean, it wasn't a complete failure, though.
No, exactly. It still allowed good battles for second, third, fourth, which probably wouldn't have ever happened. But there's a good article on the Two Wheels or More site, Cy Boyle's team over there, and it basically calculates what the British Superbike Championship would have been like without the showdown system. And it's funny because it would stay the exact same.
Last season?
Yep. It would have stayed the exact same, apart from Jake Dixon, I think, would have come out, and Christian Nidden would have come in. But apart from that, Shane Byrne still would have won. So, I'd like to think the showdown should be kept anyway, because it adds to the possibility, but I don't think it would work in Stock 1000, but I don't think it'd make masses of difference.
Well, do keep your comments coming in to us on the Superbike show, and even if we're not live on air, as we usually are, around about 8 o'clock on a Thursday-ish, on a Thursday, you can still add your comments to the comments section below this, where you're listening to it. Ian Brookman's been on earlier when Ben was on. He thinks that Ben is going to ride his backside off all year. The lad has a lot of grit, he says. Thanks for that, Ian. Sorry we didn't read that out on air earlier. But also Chris Turley asked Ben Curry, I know it's slightly, but I just wanted to read it out anyway. He wanted you to ask Ben, Kiko, he wanted you to ask if Ben prefers steak or chicken.
Okay, Ben Curry, if you're still listening, do you prefer steak or chicken? I'm a steak person, I think. Although, I've been saying that, did a chicken chow mein last night, extra spicy, you know, bit of Philadelphia cheese, you know, peppers, peas,
all right.
noodles, soy sauce.
Chris, you've set him off now.
No black pudding.
Yeah, okay. And Nat Jarvis been on talking BSB and talking about Gino Rea. Or Rea. Are you all right there? Are we still online? Are we? Yeah. Are you just checking?
I'm tuning into the comments, so I forgot to turn it down.
It's all right. Oh, look, we're on here.
Oh, look, it's me.
Look, I'm on telly. Sort of. Right, Gino Rea, says Nat Jarvis. Do you think, Kiko...
Yes. I'm listening. I've got my headset.
Unbelievable.
Can't get the stuff nowadays.
Nat Jarvis has been in touch with us, and he says, "Do you think Gino Rea will be the non-surprise? Surprise, if that makes sense? Question mark. He's had some superb pace in the testing." Sorry, Nat, I think I misread your question, but I think the gist of it was, from Nat Jarvis, will Gino Rea be the surprise in BSB? Something we've already said will probably happen. And the press releases seem to think so anyway, they're coming out of OMG.
I mean, he's going to be... I think I know what he's saying. He's going to be a surprise, but not the surprise. Because we know...
It won't be a surprise when he's in the top 6, for example, or on the... No, because we're kind of expecting it. People
forget Gino Rea is a world-class rider. Okay? Moto2 podiums, Grand Prix star, relative success in that paddock, great success at World Supersport state level. You know, people are thinking Gino Rea is a mug. Well, he isn't. You know, Gino Rea is...
Nobody said that. Who said that?
But you read a lot of comments, oh, yeah, well, that team's not going to do well. They've not been in the paddock long. It's going to be this team over there.
Well, it's easy to write off any new team because they don't know.
Exactly. It's very easy to write off any new team, but not when they're finishing 4th in the official test. I mean, I know it's only testing, and we'll have to wait and see. But like you say, press releases suggest that, you know, not only are they the team that's quite fun, but they're also a team that's very serious and professional, and that suits Gino. Both of them things suit Gino. He's a very funny lad, and he also... You know, he wants to get on with his racing. It's a long time since Gino's had a fair crack at things, and I think this year could be his chance. I don't think he will be a million miles off the pace at round 1. I think, you know, top 5s will be where he's aiming for. So, yeah, I have absolutely no doubt that Gino Rea will have a part to play in the showdown sorting out, and it may well be at the cost of a huge name. Michael Laverty, James Ellison. Maybe, if things do not go his way, Leon Haslam might find himself out there. And that would be a massive shock. But this is what can happen in BSB. We're forgetting Sylvain Barrier is in the championship as well. There's a lot of riders in this series that have come in and they're going to cause an upset. Not an upset, because they're not going to be an upset. They're just going to shake it up.
Exactly. And full disclosure, I suppose, Motorsport Media does release the OMG press releases. I was being a bit cheeky there by suggesting that. Yes. But yeah, full disclosure. Anyway, right, so shall we, can we just shift back towards World Superbikes? We've got a couple of questions regarding World Superbikes, seeing what time we have left. Kiko, you watched the World Superbikes, and I actually didn't because I was busy working, as was you, but you still found time.
Thank you.
I was working more than you were, anyway. Anyway, so...
Sorry, can we just add something in? There was a cable, earlier in the wrong box? Someone was working to mistakes, I claim. Not me.
Fact is, we fixed it and we're on air. That's what life's like.
I tell you what, you should be an England goalkeeper with saves like that.
Anyway, World Superbikes. And we want to know why... Specifically why, and don't give us a big long list of reasons and plus 20 other riders and blah 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 and sitting on the fence. Why is it good this season? What are the reasons? And keep it to just 3.
Yeah. Okay. First one's got to be the regulations. I don't care what anyone says. That has worked because we're getting Honda Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Ducati. I think the first 5. Greg Haynes did a great start. I can't remember it off by heart, but it was something like in 2016 the top 12 or the top 10 across the line were split by 30 seconds, and this year it was just 11 seconds or something like that in one of the races. World Superbikes has got closer, I think, because of the regulations. People say, yeah, but you're penalising success. But it's still a spectacle. If you want raw racing, that's fine. Go and look at Formula One and look why their model's failing. If you look at World Superbikes, they've actually acknowledged, right, we need to do something. We have done something, and in 3 out of the 4 races, we've had different winners so far this year. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have 9, 10, 12 riders to win the races, but the regulations will allow for the potential of riders like Xavi Forés to challenge week in, week out. Yamaha to challenge week in, week out. If you look at last year, it took a long time for Yamaha to get on the podium. I think it was Donington Park before they actually got 1 bike on the podium. Portimao, they got 2 on the podium. That's towards the back end of the year. We're 2 rounds in, and we've had Yamaha both on the podium in 1 race. No Kawasaki to be seen. So that, to me, suggests that World Superbikes regulations are obviously working. That's one reason. Second reason, I think that the way World Superbikes is going, why it's so good this year, is because there's more factory involvement, and by that I mean Aprilia, for example, have stepped in a lot more this year. MV Agusta are not now just letting Leon Camier develop a bike. They've hired Jordi Torres, another excellent development rider. He's developing the bike. Excuse me. Loris Baz is back as well. In World Superbike. There's a lot of big names in World Superbikes now, and that's great. Obviously it's a shame that Eugene Laverty's going to be out for a while, because I think he could have been a potential upset as well.
Well, I'm sure there were a lot of the same riders in last year's championship, but what's specifically different this year?
It's hard. I mean, I've said regulations, but the riders just look a bit more up for it this year. I know that sounds ridiculous because every rider's up for it every year, but it doesn't. They seem just to have hold of Jonathan Rea a little bit more. Like, then he isn't coming.
They smell blood, maybe.
Yeah, the perfect example was race 2 in Thailand. You've got Camier in the lead, Johnny Rea trying to fight through. He ain't getting through. Jonathan Rea did not make as much headway as I thought he would. Started 9th. We're used to seeing him carve through, toddle off into the distance after 3 laps. Finished 4th. And I just think, and that 4th was a hard-fought 4th. He still had to catch Xavi Forés later on in the race. We had brake problems and this and that. But I think the other manufacturer just said, listen, we've got to be consistent this year. We've got to be on it every game, every round. And I just think that attitude has spread, and the likes of Leon Camier on a more competitive machine has definitely helped, spicing things up. So yeah, I think that, and that's one. There's the third reason. It's shook up a bit. We've seen Leon Camier move. Loris Baz has come in. Jordi Torres has moved. Not the top riders, but the middle kind of group. They've all changed around, and do you know what? He works for that bike really well. He's getting it up the sharp end. That bike's becoming competitive, and it all becomes a better spectacle because we've got more manufacturers in. So, rider shake-ups, things as basic as that.
And what's the third reason?
That was it.
Okay. What was the second reason then?
Second, the riders actually just, I think, saying to themselves, and the teams as well, saying, we have to be. They're just upping their performance. I think that's the way to get to that.
I think generally in Great Britain anyway, the World Superbikes has more attention on it, and seems to a lot of people, casual fans perhaps of bike racing, seem to have properly woken up. People who dismissed it for a couple of years because it was Ray and yada yada yada, and just kind of fell asleep, and understandably so. But I think though a lot of the casual fans, and especially I think perhaps the turning point was the third championship and him coming second in the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Lot of people that would probably have continued to dismiss World Superbikes, not even really thought about it, would continue to do so if it wasn't, I think, for that BBC Sports Personality of the Year nomination and his second place, and almost won it.
He did, and that's what amazes me about bike fans. We're everyone says that we're a minority sport, It's amazing that, because we beat, and I will use that word, we beat Lewis Hamilton. And I don't care what anyone says, Lewis Hamilton is way more known worldwide and in this country than Johnny Ray. But when it comes to sticking together, the bike community do that. And that's what it can get you. If you just that one bit of exposure for an hour, for that little bit of time. Obviously, my Twitter's going to be full of bikes and vote Ray anyway. But, there was even a campaign for Shane Byrne put together by Vanessa Bell. I think that's the right name. If it's not, I'm sorry. But yeah, even Shane Byrne had a campaign going. I think we're at this turning point. I think it's a bit down to Cal Crutchlow's success in Grand Prix as well when he started winning. We're just now flicking over, and we did it about 5 years ago, where MotoGP just ticks over Formula One in this country. We was just that little bit further ahead. It always has been in Italy and Spain, but in this country we've kind of gone from the Barry Sheen era and the James Hunts, where they were equal, then to Nigel Mansell, and Wheat Bikes didn't really have many big names to shout about in Britain. And then we've come back. I think the media coverage that we get over here, yes, it's on pay-to-view and everything like that, but we get some of the best coverage, the greatest commentators, because if you look elsewhere, it isn't that good in other countries. So I think that media coverage helps as well, because people enjoy watching it. And if people enjoy watching it, I think, you know what, when it comes to our country, we'll go to that. And then you've got a few fans, before you know it, the sport's growing. That's exactly how things grow.
Exactly. Well, the Cool Fab Racing champ, Jay King, on a pit bike, is tuned in, listening live. Hello, Jay. Thank you very much for tuning in. He reckons that Foggy winning I'm a Celeb helped. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I agree, because the only thing with that is people now think Foggy is this big celebrity, had his day, kind of...
I think, people know the name anyway. People know the name from, like, when he was racing, and he was such a massive, he still is. That's why he was in the jungle, I suppose. But not necessarily people would associate him watching that programme. That audience from that programme, I don't think even know what World Superbikes is, to be honest.
It's a long time since it's been on free-to-air, and that's a problem, I think. You get the highlights, but, I think it was in 2000, 2001, 02, 03, that era, World Superbikes was all on free-to-air. It was on the BBC. So, yeah, I don't know.
Is this another Eurosport rant?
No, another.
Sorry, Kiko doesn't go on rants, I forgot.
No, their coverage has been sublime, we'll say that. But I think another thing that hasn't helped World Superbikes is, and I am that kind of person who likes to, orders the Duke catalogue at Christmas, sits in my bed, hot chocolate, black pudding and chips and whatnot, flicking through the Duke magazine.
Kiko was a weird child.
I'll have that. Do you know what? It was 2 for $10. Yeah, we'll have some of that as well. You go through the Duke magazine and you just pick out a few DVDs. Well, there isn't any now for World Superbikes. They've stopped making them. The last one was in 2015. That hasn't helped. The length of the DVDs was also a bit long anyway. It's I think it was 7 hours. That's way too long for a review. It's
don't you get any on Blu-ray? Because I don't really buy DVDs anymore.
No. They just stopped producing them on a whole, which I think is awful, because, Johnny Ray's been dominant, but it's not every race has been bad. I mean, look at Neil Hodgson in 2003. What about him? He literally won 9 out of 10 races straight off the cuff. So people can't say Johnny Ray's too dominant. We've been through it all too far. And when Hodgson was racing, every race win was accomplished by a Ducati rider that year.
I mean, if it's good racing, I don't suppose anyone really minds if it's just one person winning all the time. If it's great racing, I mean, that one person might just be winning by like a tenth of a second or something.
Exactly. But, I think people will not pay for your sport for whatever reason, you see it with BT. People will not swallow the money. Okay, so you can't change that, but you can make a DVD at the end of it, sell it at 15 quid. People will pay for 15 quid for DVD.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than a season thing. Plus, if I know I don't have time to watch all the races live, a DVD, well, I prefer it in Blu-ray, but a DVD would probably, because I want to still catch up and see what I've missed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know they do an end of season thing, which I usually record anyway. But if I know, for example, like I'm going to miss a huge chunk of a particular championship, I'm not really going to be that involved in it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be sticking around to watch it. I want to watch something like a DVD in the winter, basically, to just catch up and just to see what happened, so I know what happened, because I missed it because I was doing other things. I didn't actually know that they'd stopped doing DVDs at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame, but you know, you're just taking away that extra marketing, that extra product for people to get involved in and buy. And you know, if you're a young fan, I mean, like I was, the only reason I got into World Superbikes was because my dad bought me a DVD. No, and it was on VHS. You know, it wasn't really through, watching it live on telly. That came after. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just a one-off case. But, you know, I do think that if you start taking things away, where does the sport go from there?
Yeah, stop taking our thing that we all stopped watching anyway away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, no, but World Superbikes, as the general consensus is, it's better than it has been since.
It's back.
It's back. Yes,
it is back.
Back.
I mean, I had a conversation with Keith Ewan a couple of days ago. He says that maybe things can be improved in the paddock a little bit.
Who else
more,
have you been talking to? I bumped into Murray Walker the other day. Go on. Yeah, go on, carry on.
He says maybe there should be more things to kind of make it a bit more entertainment and try and kind of tailor-make each round to that round's atmosphere. So in Thailand, you know, do something with what you've got. You know, you just kind of make it Thai. You know, I know that sounds...
Are you thinking of food again?
No, just give it that authentic atmosphere that... I know you can't get it across on telly, but whilst you're there, if you're there, you know, Thailand's a destination. That's how you got to put it. So Thailand's a destination. British fans who are out there for the World Superbikes will want to get a bit of authenticity whilst they're there.
But won't it, if they go too much regional, won't it all get a bit too gimmicky? Like, for example, Formula One, when they go to Texas, they all wear the big Texan hats and all that's all Texan and blah, blah, blah on the podium. When they go to Mexico, the podium music is the mariachi band, and you think, it's okay, it's slightly racist, but okay, yeah, it's not bad, but it's regional, whatever.
No, I don't think it's
borderline gimmicky. Do you know what I mean? If you go...
What's wrong with that? I think, and again, if you know people want to, I know there's not a lot of bikes on the grid this year in World Superbikes. Well, okay, so when you go to the Spanish round, okay, you get the top 3 riders in the Spanish CEV Superbike Championship, get them in and see what they can do. When they come to Donington Park, get Shane Byrne, Leon Haslam, Brad Ray, and all them kind of people on a Superbike, put them in as a wild card. So, you know, I am for that kind of artificial adding to it, but I mean, another thing, and I cannot believe Dorna have not thought of this already. I'd say for one round, okay, so you've got, say, Misano for the World Superbikes. Common sense says, right, let's do everything we can to put Valentino Rossi, Andrea Dovizioso, and Marc Marquez up against the World Superbike lot, or the top 3 teams, or the top 3 riders in the championship. And then at the say another round, so Portugal, give up Miguel Oliveira a run out. You know, kind of interlink the 2 championships, so that it's all about branding and names. I don't care what anyone says. Names like Valentino Rossi, Dovizioso, Marc Marquez, they are household names now. I'd say in most people's houses in the UK.
I think that would probably work. I mean, putting my branding hat on, I'd immediately say, good God, no, just because 3 million of all our sponsors will be like, ooh, I don't like this. But where that would work is if, watch this segue, if you all get them on mini bikes, identical mini bikes, just like I think they did like a PR stunt in MotoGP a couple of years ago, stay with me, put them all on mini bikes, and have a mini bike race, legends, current stars, all on mini bikes, mini motos, racing around a kart circuit, which are at most
in
of the
South
circuits.
Wales, probably.
Or South Wales, yeah. Drag them along to Llandau. Why not? Other kart tracks are available. But why not? And even put a few BSB stars in there as well. Let's find out who is the world's best. Is it BSB versus MotoGP or World Superbike? That would work. I think that would definitely work. If everyone was on an equal mini moto bike, that would definitely work. We'd do the commentary for it.
Leicester.
We'd stream it live. It'd be all fantastic.
Leicester. Can I borrow your glass? Because I need to see where this is going. What are you on about? And where is the segue?
Well, the
Where are you
segue
coming from?
into Cool
thought it
Fab
was-
Racing, the British
Yes,
Mini
but you
Bikes
didn't
Championship.
get that far. You
We're
didn't
talking
get
about-
that far. Oh, baby.
Anyway, yes, because that.
Have we had any comments tsunami in?
Yes, a comment trickled in earlier.
Leicester,
It's,
shut up, you fool.
No, that wasn't one of the comments. It would be a good thing. Jay King would probably agree with me. Let's get them all on pit bikes. Rossi on a pit bike. Yeah, Danny Kent. Brad Ray, he'd be up for that, certainly.
I can see comments coming from Jack Groves. Jack,
Oh, yeah.
thanks.
What
for your
does Jack
comment.
Groves say? Go on, what does Jack Groves say?
It would work if all on same bikes, not different bikes. Ah, right, okay. I will tell you why that won't work. I'm not.
It's just
on
because
paper-
it's the literal same thing that I've just said.
On paper, it does work. I'll grant you. But so did paying everyone the same wage in Cuba, and it hasn't worked.
Whoa, whoa,
So-
whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, Fidel. Just park it, Corbin. We're
So
talking
where
about
I'm-
motorsport and bikes and
Where
not
I'm
Brexit.
going with this is, you've seen in Moto 2,
Oh, my
not so
God.
much of the last 3 years, but in 2013, 14, 15, the racing went away. It died off because everyone was on a Calex. There was no head-to-heads. Because what you get with different bikes, right, is you get some work well in this part, some work well in the other part. And, you know, you've got that dynamic. And in some parts of the track, or some tracks where you go to, they work better than others. Some other tracks we go to, they work better than others. So, you know, at certain times of the year, having a different bike can be an advantage. So, say Aragon, I expect Danny Kent and Fabio Quartararo to be well up there because the speed up's quite a long bike and it sits down well in the longer corners. It'll be more stable. And that's what Aragon is. It's long corners and it's hard braking areas as well. So by having different bikes, and this is why I'm a bit more for an open tyre rule, because you get that variation, the dynamic, and some tyres work there, some tyres work here, you know. So yeah, on paper, having one make works, but I'm not so sure in practice it
Just
would.
a one-off showcase event, an end-of-season showcase showdown, maybe. I don't know. BSB versus World
Showcase
Superbikes
showdown
versus
Foresight Live.
MotoGP. Yeah, we'll get Tom
Tom
Brooks in,
resurrected.
and he can commentate on it all, and it'll be all good. We'll have 3 different rounds. It'll be head-to-head. Everybody on pit bikes, everybody on mini motos.
It's literally like saying, why don't we just race on a round circuit? Why don't we just race on a roundabout? Because it just doesn't work. I don't think. It's that kind of, everything's a bit samey, there's not a lot of variation. Yes, it's a lot more down to the rider, but then you're going back down the route of pure racing. And pure racing we've seen
Well, for a championship.
in this era of development just isn't working. Look at Formula One.
Anyway, Josh Hill's been on, and he says, Byrne, the BSB riders won't do a World Superbike wildcard as the class specs are too different, and they're not going to build a bike for one round or ride below spec bike to ride a round in 25th, for example. Yes,
Yeah.
possibly. I don't know. It was just an idea anyway that I think Kiko started. So let's blame him. What was we talking about again?
You started
World Superbikes.
you started saying that Valentino Rossi and co should go on mini bikes in South
Well,
Wales.
they did a couple of years ago.
As a PR stunt. Yes, of course I do. Alvaro Bautista crashed into Alicia Sparkway.
Right.
Didn't know that, did you? Oh dear. We need to get you on the League of Knowledge, Lester.
I would be very successful at not answering a question correctly.
Yes, obviously. Where are we going with this?
Anyway, this is the Superbike Show. My name's Lester. Kiko's here, and we've still got Brad Ray to hear from in just a moment from now. And yes, Brad Ray, of course. The segue was Cool Fab Racing mini bikes. Brad Ray came from Cool Fab Racing regular to Cool Fab Racing. He's probably going to be in the next round, racing probably whatever he wants, really.
News.
Kiko has news.
Brad Ray's going to join us in the commentary box for that.
I've literally been trying to get Brad Ray in the commentary box for 2 years, and
has he said no?
He's not said no, but you have a real hard time trying to catch him unless you physically drag him up.
He's coming on to the commentary box. I've asked him, and he said yes.
Yes, so, exactly. I've also asked him every time he's been there. Yeah, but good luck with that anyway. But yeah, we'll try and get Brad Ray up on the commentary box. He has done one or twice, but he's understandably busy with mini bikes and pit bikes and such.
Nice.
And we're busy doing commentary and the stuff. Anyway, so yes, Brad Ray, we last chatted with him back in November at the Motorcycle Live show. And,
one of the 37 interviews that we got across the weekend.
Wow. Yes, and it's one of the many that we've been sort of drip feeding throughout the winter to keep everyone busy and entertained and such. So so this is going back to November. Still kind of relevant because the season's not yet started, I guess. But this is Brad Ray's then speaking to Kiko at the NEC in Birmingham.
Bradley Ray, how are you feeling for 2018 coming up?
Yeah, I'm over the moon. Considering how well the 2017 season went for the first year in Superbike, it's going to be an interesting 2018 for sure. And I mean, a bit more development through the winter time with the Suzuki and a few tests at the start of the year, January, February time. I think we can hit the ground running for round one for sure.
Are you taking any confidence into 2018? You had a podium in 2017, really strong end to the season. Got to be on target, surely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can just go in positive with what we ended on last year and the results we got from last year for the first year in Superbike and the brand new Suzuki. Then we can definitely work from that. And I mean, I don't see why we can't be fighting top six every round and be sniffing on the podium for sure.
Is race wins in the possibility?
Yeah, I would like to say so. It's going to be tough. There's 10 fast riders in there, so it's going to be difficult. A few tracks suit the Suzuki more than other bikes, so we'll just see how we get on, and it'd be nice to be in the showdown at the end of the year for sure. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing and developing the Suzuki.
What was the main skill you learned in your debut Superbike year?
Many. There's lots. To jump from a 600 to 1,000, it may look easy, but to ride fast for the 20 laps you have to ride, and you have to adapt your style quite a bit to ride the Superbike. Which I didn't struggle. I was riding it a bit more like a 600 when I should have been riding it a bit more like 1,000. We worked on that a lot through the year. The team have helped me a lot to adapt my style, and yeah, I think we've got a few areas to work on for sure. We've got a few ideas for the bike as well. So yeah, we just got to train hard through this winter and get out in January time and get cracking.
What's the Suzuki's strong point as a Superbike?
For me, it's difficult to say. I've only ever rode the Suzuki Superbike, so I don't actually know. The chassis itself's good, an all-round nice bike to ride straight out the crate, so that's a bonus for sure. Suzuki have definitely put the work in to get this bike the way it is. I think the whole package itself is strong. There's a few areas that we're trying to work on to try and rail out a few things, but I think we've got a few ideas in the pipeline for sure.
And just explain to us why your wrist and your arm is in bandage. What's happened there then?
A little bit through last year, through mid-year to the end of the year, I started to get arm pump, and I tried a few things fitness-wise and diet-wise to try and help with it, a few different training regimes and things like that, and it just kept coming back, and it's this time of the year where you need to try and get rid of it. So I had the arm pump operation on Tuesday. so I've got all winter. It's a 4-week recovery, so I should be able to recover up ready for January tests and hopefully get rid of the issue.
Do you feel any pressure being hyped up, Britain's next young talent, young gun, blah, blah, blah? Do you feel the pressure, the heat at the moment?
No, I don't suffer from pressure. I mean, I'm going to go out and do the best I can, like I do all the time. I can only ride at the best I can do. If it's not good enough on the day, then it's not good enough. So, I mean, I feel we've got a good package behind us. The team are going to put 100% in, and I'm going to put 100% in as always. And I think we can work together to get decent results and get Suzuki back on the map for sure.
Can you be a genuine showdown contender next season?
I hope so. I think that's got to be the aim for sure. I mean, we've got to go in and be positive and think, right, we can do this. We can work as a team to get into the showdown. And I think the showdown is definitely a possibility. If we can get into that, it makes the last 2 rounds a lot easier with the point scoring and the way it works. So if we can get in the showdown, then we've got a good chance for sure.
Bradley Ray, thanks for joining us here at the Suzuki stand.
Thank you. Cheers.
Boom. Did you know he had an arm pump operation? That was the big development to come out of the Motorcycle Live show. I certainly didn't know that. Maybe it was scheduled and you knew about it, but I didn't. And he's had it, and there it was. Brad Ray speaking to us, and your new mate, Kiko, Sam Clowes, has been on. Kiko's currently got his mic muted. Because I told him to mute his mic, and I said, don't forget to unmute your mic. Oh, Gordon Bennett. And he's still muted. There you go.
Apologies to the Clowes family, who I made 2 cock ups of on the weekend. I first called Sam and Simon brothers, and then in a last lap kind of fancy commentary, I called them not Clowes, clowns, and I am deeply apologetic for that.
They probably didn't even know that, so you've just further offended them.
They are more than welcome to come up and
yeah, they did.
Batter
they stormed into the commentary box. Or Sam did, yes. Anyway, I won't. But yeah, Sam and Jay King both, Sam suggested that maybe he'll get Jay King up to maybe do a bit of co-commentary with you. That should be uncomfortable for you then, shouldn't it, Kiko?
Yeah, I've already had Ollie Walker's presence and Jimmy Parker's bullying, so yeah, we're all right in the cool fab commentary box.
As nobody knows what that reference is, you better explain it.
No. Basically, I like to eat, as you can't see already. And Jimmy Parker came up to me and went, "This is in the Bournemouth Kawasaki Hospitality Suite on a Saturday night." He'd already seen me eating breakfast in the morning before, and he said, "Well, why are you still eating then?" I was like, "Excuse me, who are you?" And
no, I think he said, "Kiko, are you still eating? Are you eating again?"
And I wasn't actually. That was the best bit about it.
And about 50 people just burst out laughing. And
about 2. You and that.
He's at least 10. And young Jimmy Parker just left feeling like a legend, one would imagine. So yes. Kiko's obviously gotten over that moment of being food shamed.
Yes.
But in all fairness, you did bring that up yourself. I never even mentioned that.
No.
You
anyway.
mentioned it.
Have we got the photo that I asked for? Is that ready?
No, it's not, and I don't know.
Is it going to be?
I had a quick look at it, and I thought, I don't know.
No, we're playing with that one.
Well, okay, give me a couple of seconds. I'll let you know when it's
Give
ready.
us a nod.
Right, I will do. Jay King says Sam is a clown, and... now
there's rivalry.
And exactly. So Jay King and Sam Clowes both racing in the Cool Fab Racing British Minibikes Championship, as is Brad Ray when he's not being a superstar rider for Suzuki.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
So one of many people's ones to watch this year.
Absolutely, and you can see why. You really can see why, but you can see why everyone would be one to watch. Go on then, hang on a minute. Lester, pick a top 6.
No.
Yes, I'm telling you to do it right now, otherwise you're going to look like a wimp on national television.
We're not on TV, we're on radio.
We reach thousands of people.
Yeah, not on TV though.
Each week.
I'll draw your attention to the
top 6.
I'll draw your attention to the spinning logo in that there corner of screen that says Motorsport Radio. and I don't really want to pick a top 6 because I'll probably be devastatingly correct, and you'll just be absolutely sick of me telling you how correct I was at the end of the season.
Go on then, make a top 6 then.
For the do you mean the showdown or the end of the season top 6?
Well, it's going to be either way, isn't it?
Well, not really. The start of the top, it could be different.
Yeah, but just the 6 riders that will be in there.
Okay, the ones that will qualify for the showdown. All right. Yeah, okay, fantastic. So, in no particular order, as Kiko writes these down, I don't know why, because we're recording this anyway. Top 6. Glenn Irwin. Brad Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Mossey. Leon Haslam. How many is that? 4?
Yes. C. Comprendo.
I actually think it will come down to the final round before the showdown. Yep. And I think it will, a lot of the bottom 2, the 5th and 6th place, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, will all get decided in that last race, perhaps by injury or crashes. So it's going to be hard to tell. I think, with the greatest of respect, I don't think the people going into the showdown in 5th and 6th will make it necessarily on merit, in that I think there will be on-track incidents which might promote somebody into the top 6.
Who are your next 2 riders? Because it's like loading Windows.
All right, shut your face. Oh, sorry, because I don't name the 20 riders that you do. Oh, yeah, I think, what's it he'll do? Yeah, he'll also do well. Yeah, and he's named like 20 riders.
Stop showing off just because you've named 4 riders.
All right, so 4 riders. Who have I said so far? Mossey, Haslam,
Irwin and Ray.
Irwin, Ray, Byrne.
Right.
And
be brave now, because you're going to have to choose out of a hell of a lot here.
Yeah.
So the only 2 you've mentioned that got into the showdown last year are Haslam and Byrne.
Right.
6th one? Preferably before next week's show.
All right. Jesus. I'll probably total guess based on not much.
We know.
Just total guess. I'm going to go for O'Halloran.
Oh.
Okay, is that the of agreement?
So no James Ellison then? No Josh Brooks?
Are you going to go literally through the letter and say
no Danny Buchan? You know when Rob Winfield comes on next week, I'll let you do the explain.
Rob Winfield can come on this week, and
I'll let you know why you haven't picked it, James Ellison.
Why?
Why haven't you?
Well, that's like saying, why haven't I picked everybody else? You asked me to pick a top 6, and I picked 6.
If you can't answer the question, Lester, that's not my fault.
That literally was the answer to the question. You asked.
Okay.
You asked, and I answered.
Why you not picked James Ellison? But
there's no reason.
Mind.
No reason why.
Have we got the photo of live footage?
Not yet. Let me load this up.
We are trying to connect to live footage.
So what is this photo? Just set this photo up then. Just explain what this is about and why we're showing it.
This is live footage of... you may have heard Tony Morris came on the show, one of the first actual guests on the Superbike show. He is going to be back with the tag racing team this year. Worked very closely with Josh Brooks and Sean Winfield last year, and he will be back in that team this year. He will be at Donington Park, so he's a well-known figure in the paddock. I believe we now have live pictures of his house. Here's his celebration.
Go on, what, Kiko?
His nickname is Bricktop, and that's because he looks like Bricktop. So, yep, there's live footage of Tony on a good day. And, it'd be great to see him around.
Kiko's desperately trying not to laugh.
Oh dear. His Twitter is at Bricktop, I think. I thought it was at something else, and then he wasn't very happy when I assumed what it was. But yeah, Tony Morris back in the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Yamaha team.
Well done. Fantastic. We got there in the end. That was good. So yes, Kiko. Apologies, Tony.
Excuse me, I just put the phone on again. I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. So that was that. I think we covered everything now, because I think we're just about done anyway. Unless you've got anything else to chip in. No, he's not paying attention. I think we'll call it. I think we'll call it a night. Anyway.
Call it a night. I think that's probably the best.
We've offended enough people.
Yes,
the clowns and the Tony Morrises and
Tony Morris, Bricktop.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who else did we offend?
Dragging Jimmy Parker into the conversation. No one even knew about that until you brought it up.
But it gives him 10 seconds of fame.
Anyway, but hello and thank you very much for tuning in.
We offended Cuba. And communists in general.
Thank you for tuning in to the Superbike show. That was the last ever Superbike show. But yeah,
he's about to top himself. Literally, he was so stressed before the show started, and he's only just got back from South Wales. It took him. What time we set off from?
I wasn't stressed.
Now at 7, didn't we?
Yeah,
we set off at 7. And what time did you get in?
We set off about 6:30, and it took me 9 hours to drive home, because I had to drop Kiko. I had to drive all the way to Mansfield to drop Kiko off, and then I had to drive all the way to Crewe to drop Dan off, the other commentator, and then drive all the way another way. I did a whole zigzag across the country. Plus, we stopped off for some food as well, and blah blah blah.
We stopped off for fast food, which took over an hour.
Yeah, and so yeah, it took me 9 hours, and I was dead on Monday all day. So that was that. But I wasn't stressed because I went to Landau. I was generally stressed just because.
The weather hasn't been very nice.
Yeah, the weather, that technical weather.
Well, no, it technically is. It's just interfering with our works. Anyway, That's the wrap. Keep your comments flooding in, because we are never shut here on Motorsport Radio. This might be the end of the show coming up, but we always read your messages.
What's coming up this week on website?
Try and reply. So keepers coming in. What do you say, Lester? Sorry.
I said, tell us, Kiko, what's coming up this week on motorsport.radio?
Motorsport.radio. Well, lots of Brick Superbike coverage, I can assure you of that. Lots of exclusive digs and interviews. We might have some pictures and some videos, and we've got Motorsport Monday on Tuesday.
Monday Motorsport.
Oh, sorry. I know he hates that, and that is a genuine mistake. I do apologise. Motorsport Monday on a Tuesday.
Monday Motorsport.
Sorry.
Oh, piss off. Anyway, Monday
on a Tuesday, because of the silly thing which is Easter, which is some reason on a Monday. We'll be back at a normal time, hopefully around 8:30 on a Thursday. I can just see Lester's face going as red as what mine has looked like, even though it's not. But no, 8 o'clock next week, hopefully a few more guests as well. And keep up to date as well, because we'll try and get the standings out when we've got a few more guests on and completed of the League of Knowledge.
League of Knowledge, yes, that. We'll try and get some sound effects maybe for next week.
Yeah. Shall we do voiceovers?
No. But thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the Superbike Show on Thursday, the 29th of March, 2018. My name's Lester. Kiko is also here. You can also tune in to the Motorsport Radio 24 hours a day on motorsport.radio as well. A 24/7 web stream, audio stream on there, full of the best interviews that we've compiled from the past year, and all the latest interviews. So you might hear Ben Curry talking on the phone. You might hear Shaky Byrne as well. You might hear some other perhaps Formula One drivers as well. Lots of different types of motorsport to expose yourself to and learn about as well, because it's all good here. And thank you very much for tuning in. We'll go now, because I think we've just about annoyed everyone. Thank you.
Question time soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.